Oh, it's the future of delivery. They've been training us for months. I need you to place an official order on Amazon to activate the drone.
And welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Shane.
And today we're talking about some of the worst movies out there. We're talking about the bottom 250 worst movies on Letterboxd, according to some list we found, which I think just kind of tries to aggregate the ratings or whatever. We picked two stinkers, and we're excited to talk about them. My pick for this was the new War of the Worlds movie that just came out, starring Ice Cube and directed by Rich Lee. And Shane picked
Cats, the iconic musical directed by Tom Hooper.
crazy.
Of yeah, of The
Crazy.
King's Speech.
Amazing. Um, also iconically starring, not starring, but featuring Taylor Swift. So
Oh, I
we
don't I
can,
mean
yeah,
stacked cast.
it's
Both
insane.
movies have a relatively stacked casts.
Also, both movies are relatively recent.
Yeah.
2019 is a long time ago at this point, but not like these aren't like old movies. Obviously, War of the Worlds just came out, um, and these are like they both really quickly shot really low. Like they were both quickly reviewed to the hellscape of the bottom of Letterboxd, um, and are both pretty bad.
Yeah. Yep. I think both these are movies that are kind of infamously bad. They on the Letterboxd, worst 250, some of the lowest rated movies on Letterboxd. A lot of them are some random junk you'd find at a Redbox, even though Redbox I don't think exists anymore, but
Yeah,
you get the idea.
on Tubi,
Some exactly, some random Tubi trash, Atlantic Rim, stuff like
Cocaine
that.
Shark.
Stuff that barely exists, and these were real, major motion pictures that everyone watched and was, collectively hated pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing because they're also neither of these are new IPs, which I think is relevant here because
Oh yeah.
War of the Worlds is of course a remake of many things. We'll get into all that, but everyone knows the name War of the Worlds. And Cats, probably less known, I guess, less seen.
I don't know.
It's a musical, but
Cats is I feel like Cats is one of the most famous musicals.
you're probably right. To be honest, I don't know, but you're probably right. But both of them, like, they are iconic names. Like there was a lot of hype for them when they were coming out, and Rich Lee, it's his first thing,
I
but
don't know
of
if
course,
there wasn't a lot of hype for both of these coming out.
maybe not a lot of hype,
No,
but
no. The Cats trailer, people saw it and were like, "What the fuck is this?" And then War of the Worlds, they were like trying to hide as long as possible, and then they dumped it on Amazon, and then it just went viral on
yeah,
the internet, and people were like, "What is this?"
I think you're right. Not a lot of hype, but a lot of attention. Like people instantly didn't like these, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Even like you said with the trailer for Cats, it was like instantly people were like, "This is uncanny," and I don't want to watch this.
yeah.
And it goes on to obviously get nominated for a bunch of awards.
Yep, yep. Great film, great
Um,
film. But
and yeah,
oh yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, in War of the Worlds kind of gets dumped on Amazon Prime,
Yeah,
and to be honest, I'm surprised it didn't just kind of go under the radar. Like people, the only reason I think that people know about this is because it got so much attention online. Like the reason that things come out on Tubi and people don't know and don't care, right? They're not the bottom movie of all time. It's because they just happen. Nobody draws attention to it, but this got a lot of attention.
yeah, yep. And yeah, I mean, I guess people probably noticed it because it's a recognizable name,
Yeah.
and with Ice Cube on the poster, people were, and I'm sure on Amazon when it first came out, there was some promotion of it being on the front page or recommended to people occasionally, and so it probably built up steam that way. But yeah, anyway, before we get into the movies, we are going to get a full in-depth spoiler discussion of the movies. So if you really care about spoilers for either, and I don't think you do because War of the Worlds, the movie, everyone knows War of the Worlds, and basically the only difference is they made it even stupider and make no sense. And then Cats has no plot, so there's barely anything to spoil in either of these movies. And also they're terrible. So if you don't want to watch them and you just want to hear us chat about it, then feel free. But before we do that, we're going to recommend a few things we've watched recently. Well, not necessarily recommend, but we're going to talk about some things we've seen recently. Some good, maybe some not as good. I'm not sure. But Ryan, did you want to kick us off with something you've seen recently?
Sure. And I'll start off with a banger because I got the chance to watch Black Swan in its IMAX re-release. Um, the Darren Aronofsky movie that's starring Natalie Portman and about kind of her descent to madness, kind of, while she's kind of obsessed with perfection and fame, or not necessarily fame, but definitely perfection, and also just going through it. And it's a very kind of dark movie. It's a thriller. There's some, I think it leaves you wondering kind of not just what happened, but like a lot of stuff, right? Like there's a lot of questions at the end, and um, it's it's pretty awesome. I would strongly recommend. I was really glad to be able to see it on the IMAX re-release. Unfortunately, that was like really quick. But if people haven't seen it, especially with uh, Caught Stealing coming out soon, I think totally a good one to go back and check out if you haven't seen it, or just rewatch. I mean, it's dark and maybe not the most. You know, you don't want to watch this over a date or anything, but I think it's a good one to revisit. It has a lot going on.
Yeah. Yep. Good movie. Haven't seen that in a long time, but I remember being very good. And also, if anyone out there likes Black Swan, go back and watch Perfect Blue and The Red Shoes, which are movies that like really influenced, to the point where people are like, "Oh, Black Swan is just a ripoff of Perfect Blue," or uh, but very influential to Black Swan. So
Right.
would recommend those ones as well.
And hey, we did a just saying, we did a an episode where we talked about Perfect Blue. So you can, if you go back and watch Perfect Blue, you could, check out a little more Mind Your Movies while you're at it.
Exactly. All right, cool. That's cool. It's always cool to see a re-release in the theater. Uh Now I have to also start off with a banger. And this is where I have to come clean. This is maybe one of the most famous movies of all time that I've never seen until a few days ago. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. I never saw E.T. Had never seen it in my life. As a kid, it passed me by. As a teenager, I said, that's baby shit. Who needs to watch E.T.? And now, as a 28-year-old man, I watched E.T. and you know what? It's pretty fucking incredible. So yeah, I mean it's E.T. I don't really feel like I have to say that much about it, but it's pretty awesome. There's one little bit in the middle that's a little not my favorite bit, but the beginning, the first like hour is just like perfect. It's amazing. And the ending is like incredible, triumphant, just brilliant, like popular filmmaking, crowd pleasing. The score is amazing, the cinematography is amazing. Yeah, it's obviously it's just a classic. So I'm glad that I finally watched ET and I was able to appreciate it. And at this point, I love a movie with just a little guy. You know, ET is just a little guy. And
Babu Frick syndrome.
yeah, Babu Frick, a great example of a little guy. And you know what? I'm gonna have another movie later on with a little guy in it. So there we go. Another movie that I've watched recently has
Oh,
a little
oh,
guy.
oh, my bad. I don't know why that was so hard for me to process, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I love ET. It's up there in one of my favorites. Not maybe not top 10 or anything, maybe not top 15, but up there. I do really enjoy it. I'm kind of a Spielberg head. I mean, I don't love all of his stuff, but um, Jaws, Jurassic Park, Catch Me If You Can. Um, Good
There you
stuff. Good
go.
stuff. Oh, Save.
Yeah.
There's so many. There's so many.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I mean he's like probably the most popular filmmaker of all time. Maybe
yeah,
Hitch. I think he took the helm over Hitchcock at some point.
yeah. Speaking of, I also watched the 2005 War of the Worlds to build up to this episode. I had this bad. Well, the thing is, we picked bad movies and we knew that, so I kind of I wanted to like, my homework. I didn't want it to just be watching two shit movies, so I I watched both, and I'll lump these together here: the 1953 War of the Worlds movie and the 2005 Spielberg movie. Um, They're both pretty good. The 1953 one is kind of awesome. I think I'd strongly recommend that to anyone. I'd never seen that one before, so that was a lot of fun to watch. And it deals with. I'll actually talk a little bit about both these while we talk about the new one, just kind of to compare it a little bit. But it does deal with like the social tension, but they both deal with the social tensions of the time. With the 1950s one dealing with like the Cold War, all that stuff, and the 2005 one dealing with like post 9/11 stuff here in America. So they both felt uh, thematically relevant, uh, and they. I think the 1953 one had really, really, really awesome special effects. Um, uh, like there's some of the coolest alien spacecraft I think I've seen, certainly from the time.
Nice.
Um, and you can definitely see a lot of the influence, like Independence Day, which we also covered here on the podcast not too long ago, was certainly so heavily influenced by that movie. It's kind of insane. Uh, so very fun, very fun. The
Nice.
2005 one with Spielberg, I also enjoyed. I didn't like it quite as much, and I think the special effects were just a little bit worse, and it felt more like a Roland Emmerich movie than a Spielberg movie, to be honest. But um, yeah, that's I would recommend both them. So certainly more than this one.
Yes, 100%. Definitely better than I've never seen the 50s adaptation, but I have seen the Spielberg one. Not one of my favorite Spielberg movies. Uh yeah, just I think it's just okay. But that's a huge step up from whatever the hell this 2025 version is. So yeah, if you want to it's definitely better than that. All right. Just a little guy. You know who's maybe the most iconic little guy of the past 10 years? Paddington.
Oh, did you watch the
Eh,
new one?
I watched Paddington in Peru, the third Paddington movie. I finally got around to it. It's on Netflix. It's been sitting there. And it's a really good movie. It's really good. He goes to Peru. There's elements that work better than others. I think some of the side characters didn't totally work for me, without getting into too much spoilers or anything like that. But Paddington is very cute, very funny. It's a heartwarming family film. Uh, I think based on the premise, I was worried this was going to be like sad, and I'm here to report it's not a sad movie. It's heartwarming, it's fun, it's lighthearted. Uh, you don't have to go into this thinking it's gonna, wreck you emotionally. It won't do that. I mean, maybe you'll people could cry maybe potentially, but probably not. It's a sweet, fun movie. I liked it. All the Paddington movies are solid, good family films, well made, entertaining, good comedy. I enjoy them.
Yeah, awesome. I saw this one in theaters, I think, and yeah, it must have been in theaters. I mean, it didn't come out that long ago, and
Hmm.
also thought it was very fun, very enjoyable. I think I think people will like the Paddington movies. If you haven't seen any of them, watch them. They're pretty fun. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah, as far as like family friendly movies, they're pretty much as good as you can get in like modern family friendly movies.
Yeah,
Although, I mean, it's no ET, but it's a high
it's no
bar.
ET, but uh, you're little guys. You got to watch a movie with a little guy.
Yes. Oh my God. And there's a scene in Paddington in Peru when he's a really little guy. You see him when he's a baby and he has a flower on his head, like his hat, but it's a flower. It's really cute. So
Amazing.
it's worth watching just for that alone.
Very cute movie. I'll also jump in with a family friendly one, which is from the turn of the millennia, the year 2000, scary movie. Uh, I just I just rewatched this. It's not family friendly. Don't watch this. It's
What's up? Is that one or two?
That's in one.
That's
Yeah,
one. Okay.
yeah. There are some really fun moments like that, right? Um, and there's also just so many terrible jokes in this movie. There's like uh, sexual assault, gay, and special needs jokes are probably that's probably the entire movie.
Those are
Um,
like three of the funniest things, Ryan. I don't know what you're talking, what you mean. Those three, those are hilarious.
Editor, cut that. Uh, no, it's
Yeah, this movie has definitely not aged well in a lot of ways.
no, but it is also, I mean, there is a element to it though that is still interesting to watch if you're into the movies that it calls reference to, right? Scream, I know you did last summer. Um, even uh the ending is what is it? Um,
I don't know. I haven't seen this movie in a while.
yeah, I forget. But you know, it calls reference to a bunch of movies, and if you're into those, it is kind. I mean, it's a unique thing to watch. This does not get made today. You know, actually, wait, they are making a new scary movie. Did you see this?
Yeah, they're making Scary Movie 6, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be called Scary Movie though.
Oh, okay, of
They're
course.
doing that. Yeah.
I hate
Um.
that. You,
Yeah.
I mean, the new Superman can get away with it because the original is called Superman the movie. So it's like, all right, you can call this one Superman. That's fine. But there's already a scary movie. I mean, Scream
Yeah.
5 was the worst one. I'm not calling it Scream because guess
Yeah.
what? There's already a Scream. Scream is Scream 1. Scream 5 is Scream 5. I'm not calling it Scream. Fuck you. Even
Well, then
though it's kind of a joke in the movie, but it's still annoying.
yeah, and then Scream Six is of course Scream Six. You know, it's like okay, cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and also Rob Zombie, screw you, man. Your Halloween
Oh
movie.
yeah, Halloween,
Oh,
yeah.
first of all, that movie stinks. But second of all, you
Yeah.
can't just call it Halloween. That's why like everyone calls it Rob Zombie's Halloween, but don't do that.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, but yeah, this movie did not age well. But I, it's kind of hard to recommend this movie because it really didn't age well. But I think if you know what you're getting into and you're okay with some of that, you know, I think it is an interesting little time capsule to watch, especially if you enjoy some of the stuff that it calls dialogue to. So I don't know. I don't really know what I'm saying here. I don't know if I recommend it. Don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think it's yeah, definitely
It's rough.
it's interesting like Doofy at the time, that character is like not I don't know. It I don't know if it's unrealistic enough to be not offensive at the time or if it's just no one cared. But there's also like Dumb and Dumber was only a few years prior, and that
Yeah.
was a hugely popular movie. And you can kind of look at it now and be like, is this movie just making fun of like mentally disabled people or what's going on? Because like it's yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's been 25 years, right? I mean, since Scary Movie. And to be honest, I don't know if at the time it was considered as offensive. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't considered as offensive as it is today, but I think part of the movie is also the shock of it being offensive in many ways.
Maybe, yeah, that could be. I think also just at the time it was like less. I think now more people and like culture in general is more like socially aware and they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be offensive and stuff. Whereas at the time, I think most people just didn't care and they would just whatever. Yeah, I guess it was just socially acceptable to make fun of marginalized people, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. I don't think I do not recommend this movie. I really don't know why I rewatched it. Yeah. But anyways,
All right. We're gonna move on. I watched
thank you.
I watched Highest to Lowest, the new Spike Lee movie starring Denzel Washington and Jeffrey Wright, two of maybe just the best actors alive, probably. Uh, yeah, it's a reimagining of Akira Kurosawa's High and Low. Uh, it's based on a novel, but it's also like credited as, based on High and Low. Uh, and yeah, it's in modern day New York. Denzel is a music producer, and someone it's basically the exact same plot as High and Low. So it's yeah, so his son gets kidnapped. He has to figure out what to do. It goes from there, whatever. Uh, and this movie's like kind of a fascinating movie that doesn't work. There are elements that work really well. There's a scene in the subway that's in the middle that is actually like really well done and pretty great filmmaking. But like the first hour of this movie, so in High and Low, the first about hour of the movie, you're all in the main character's house, and I don't think it leaves the house at all. It might be like in the driveway outside the house at the beginning, but you're pretty much just there. This movie doesn't quite do that. Like it when it starts where he's in well, he's at the apartment to start, but then he goes and he drops his son off at a basketball camp. He drives around a little, like he goes to his office. So, and then there's a segment at the house when he finds out about the kidnapping. Uh, and yeah, it's just not very good. The music is kind of like almost laughably over the top and like beating you over the head with stuff. But I don't know. There's good elements to the movie, but it just doesn't work. And also it's way too long. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and it should have been way shorter. Like there are multiple scenes where so basically when after the kidnapping occurs, there's a long sequence of figuring out what to do, and stuff like this. And there's maybe four conversations that are almost the exact same thing, just with Denzel talking to four different people. And really, you only needed one or two of those, probably two. I think you need two of them. But the other two, it's just like you could have just cut this out of the movie and you'd lose almost nothing. Like it really could have been a lot tighter and a lot, because that train sequence is really the best sequence of the movie. There is some cool sequences toward the end as well, but yeah, the train sequence is just like very tight, well made. It's not like perfect or anything, but it's really solid filmmaking. And I feel like other parts of the movie are just a little bit don't work as well. But it is also fascinating. It's Denzel is this old man. There's this element of this is like a boomer movie kind of where Spike Lee is like old people know what's up, like these young kids are on their phones and they're stupid, and there's elements of that in there. um but then also, yeah, there are other cool parts of the movie. ASAP Rocky has a couple songs in the movie that are really actually like legitimately good songs. And there are some really good like supporting performances. Actually, Princess Nokia has a little just one scene in the movie. I didn't even realize it was her at the time, and she's really good. There are some good things about the movie, uh, but it just didn't like work as a whole. Uh, Also, Spike Lee hates Boston, and I love it. There's a scene where uh, Yankees fans on the train are chanting like "Boston sucks, Boston sucks," and uh, his hatred. So I've always had this thing where you're at there's a Red Sox game going on, and let's say it's the Red Sox versus the Chicago White Sox. The Yankees have nothing to do with this, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere in the crowd, people start chanting "Yankees suck." Yankees suck. And to me, I'm like, this is pathetic. The Yankees are living in your head rent free. Who cares about the Yankees, And to see Yankees fans doing that and caring so much about Boston and hating Boston so much, it made me feel like Boston was the big brother in the situation where it's like, oh, because you hate us so much that is actually a good thing. So I appreciated that about the movie.
That's interesting. Yeah. uh,
So
that's
that's what I took
interesting.
away from the movie. There's some good stuff in the movie. It's funny. It's actually like pretty funny here and there, but yeah, it just doesn't really come together in my opinion. Like it just needed to be like honed in and molded a
Yeah.
little bit more, into a tighter thing. But I feel like a lot of Spike Lee movies are like that, where they can be a little shaggy and a little rough around the edges, and sometimes too long.
Yeah. Well, I think it sounds like don't recommend. Instead, just watch a good Boston movie. Pro Boston, guys. Come
You
on.
could you could do that. You could just watch the original High and Low, which is better. You could just do that. It's kind of like, and that's also an element of it where it does when you're remaking a classic movie like that, it's kind of tough because it's like, oh well, why would I watch this instead of the original? And I don't think it really justifies that. But
Yeah. And that actually is interesting considering what we're going to be talking about really soon, too.
yeah,
I mean,
yep.
nice. Uh, well, I've got one last one, which is uh a new-ish movie, kind of. It technically came out last year, but it had a really, really hard release. I think it was pretty hard to find. Um, but it's called We're All Going to Die. Gonna Die. We're All Gonna Die. Um, and it's made by Freddie Wong. And that's
YouTuber, right?
yeah, yeah. So we just talked. I mean, I think in the last episode we talked about um, how weapons with Zach Krager and the Naked Gun with um, Akiva Schaffer, like people that kind of got their start, you know, in YouTube and are now like making big movies. And We're All Gonna Die, I thought could be interesting because of that. Also, it's kind of an interesting concept. The idea is that a big, maybe alien spike, I guess, literally just a big spike in the ground, is like there and it's huge and nobody knows how to get rid of it. And eventually people just kind of get used to it. So it skips up to 6 years later really early, right? So that happens in the first minute of the movie. And then there's a big 6 year time jump. So now we're 6 years later and everyone's just kind of used to this thing, right? It's not like a big alien invasion movie where all of a sudden everything crazy happens. Um, but then things get kind of weird. And apparently the spike can like transport pieces of land and make them teleport. And so the main plot involves these two people that don't know each other that have to go and travel a huge distance because one of their cars and some of the other person's belongings get moved really far away. So they go try to find it in the spike or near the spike to go find their things. And so it's kind of a road trip movie with some existentialism and stuff all built in. And ultimately, I thought it was an interesting setting, but I did not think it worked very well. I think the characters were not very compelling. I thought it had, I don't know, it had a pretty neat ending. So if anyone does watch it, I think there's something good at the end. But overall, the characters didn't really work very well. It kind of felt like a slog. It's almost,
Hmm.
I don't think it's quite 2 hours, but it's pretty close. And it just didn't feel like it should have been. It kind of felt like it should have just maybe been a short or something, like 30 minutes, maybe, I don't know, whatever. But I would say it's interesting to see these people that again had their start kind of like on YouTube and are now making cool things. Interesting to see those cool things. And it's a very independent movie. It's a very small independent movie. So that's cool too. So it's not that I necessarily want to tell people not to watch it. I think, if you want to put your money into, small independent movies, I think cool. I think there's lots of great ones to do that with. And if you want to see something Freddie Wong made, cool, go for it. But I didn't love it. I think it is getting pretty good reception. It does have a 3.3 on Letterboxd, so like people are liking it. Um, but yeah, I think if anyone does
Well,
see it, I'd be interested to see what y'all think. So I'm not quite recommending it, but I'm also not saying that you should like never watch it. I don't know.
yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. I will say I went to Freddie Wong's Letterboxd, and there's a 2 minute short film on there, and it's called Dog Wick, and it looks to be a parody of John Wick with a dog. So I'll probably watch that at some point.
Now that I think you should watch. I think everyone should watch. I haven't seen it, but I think everyone should watch it.
I
Um,
mean, it's only 2 minutes. I mean, you can't go wrong, right?
yeah. I
Dog
mean, come
Wick.
on.
All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Uh, all right. Last couple things I watched. Uh, I watched two DC animated movies. One of first one I watched was Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, and this was awesome. Batman super emo, super sad. Oh, he's so sad, and yeah, that's the best. I love when Batman's sad. That's the best type of movie. And the animation style is really cool, kind of like in Art Deco, like 20s style with the text and also sort of the design of Gotham. I think the animation is like pretty cool. It looks a little bit like the like animated TV shows from the 90s. But it in general, it's a great story. It's only like 73 minutes long or something like that. So it's really quick and the plot is keeps on moving and it was actually emotionally engaging. And honestly, I'd say up there with like the Dark Knight trilogy and the new Batman movie as far as like a legitimately great depiction of Batman.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
high praise. I'll have to watch
I
this.
I think it was really really great. Uh and the other one I watched, so I would highly recommend Mask of the Phantasm. The other one I watched was Justice League Doom, which is also around that like 75-minute length. It's about the Justice League and the Legion of Doom is coming after them. And like this one is a little more, it's good, but not great. There's so many characters that you can't really get fully emotionally invested in any of them. I mean, it keeps everything moving along, and there's like a fight scene like every 2 minutes. Like it's just constant. This guy's battling this guy, and they're going off, and so it's like entertaining. It's fast paced. If you want to see superheroes battle some villains, like it is cool and it's solid. But I think after watching Mask of the Phantasm, it definitely felt less. It was less emotional. I didn't connect with it emotionally as much. It was more just watch it, enjoy it for what it was, and move on. Whereas Mask of the Phantasm, I thought was actually great.
Nice. Well, good recommendations. I think are those both on HBO? I know HBO has a lot of DC stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they're on HBO Max.
I'll have to watch the Mask of the Phantasm. That is like huge praise. I don't know if I'll watch the Justice League Doom one just yet. Maybe eventually, but I watched one of the one that really sticks out to me in terms of the DC animated stuff was Flashpoint. Have you ever seen Flashpoint?
I have actually.
I liked that one. That was pretty good.
I remember thinking it was okay.
Yeah, pretty crazy concept. So I was pretty into, and actually like the Flashpoint comic book series. I have the whole series. Uh, little bit of Ryan lore here. I actually have a huge comic book collection, but anyways,
Nice.
and so I have the Flashpoint comics, and so I was pretty excited to watch that one. So that probably played a little bit into it, but it's a pretty cool one, I would say.
Nice. Yeah, I think also there's definitely personal bias where Batman is like clearly my favorite superhero. Love Batman, love the whole universe. And Flash is I just don't really care about Flash. And the Flashpoint paradox is like there's time travel and maybe multiverse shit going on and all that. uh, I generally don't like that stuff as much as just like Batman is sad and he has to like defeat bad guys in real world. So
Sad
it
Batman.
could be personal preference as well to some degree.
Well, hey, Batman is a pretty awesome character. He does have some of the best superhero
Eh,
movies of all time made about him. So
Yeah. And I think Flashpoint Paradox, from what I remember, I watched this years and years ago, but I think it also has like a lot of characters in it. So I think it might have been similar to this Justice League movie where I didn't like fully connect with it as much as the Batman movie. I'm able to connect with like Bruce Wayne and that story.
yeah, awesome, cool, nice. Well, anything
All right.
else to recommend?
Nah, I
Or
think that's it.
no? All right. Well, this episode, I remember we said
Oh boy.
a better movie to watch would have been called War of the Cats.
Yeah,
So
War of the Cats.
so this is our War of the Cats episode, which naturally means we start with War of the Worlds. Uh,
Yes, this was your choice. You subjected us to this movie, which honestly, I mean, whatever, we'll get into it. But both these movies, I think, were relatively good to get through.
yeah,
They weren't painful to watch. There was stuff going on throughout, and even though they both were quite poor in quality, the time passed pretty quickly.
yeah. I think yeah,
Because
I think
and also I laughed several times at both movies, so that contributed to it.
yeah, I think so. War of the Worlds. Man, this is such a weird movie going in. It is Rich Lee's. I think it's his first feature film, and obviously it stars Ice Cube. Uh, it also is based on the H.G. Wells's 1898 novel by the same name, and that was first adapted as a radio broadcast in 1938. With Orson Welles actually talking on the radio and
Mhm.
supposedly frightening lots of people and lots of cool stuff. And of course, a lot of people thought maybe Germany was invading, right? That was one of the big fears when people tuned into the podcast, right? Not everyone was afraid that the Martians were invaded, but people thought, well, there's an invasion going on. Is this, the war spreading over here, right? And so that's one big piece of some of the fears and anxieties that that movie built off of. And then Byron Haskins in 1953 adapted it in a film. We talked a little about that. Obviously, it's built on like the atomic Cold War tensions and stuff. And then Steven Spielberg's 2005 film um, builds on some of the post 9/11 stuff. And this movie is like is smack at a good time to build on new anxieties that people have, right? Like for example, people are afraid of like government overreach and capitalism and all this stuff. So the movie has a lot
Big
of good,
tech.
yeah, big tech, right? The movie has a lot of good material to play off of. Um, the problem is, problem
Problem is
is,
none of it works. They
and it
tried to
does,
make an alien invasion movie all on a computer screen, which was
yeah,
just a, I mean, just a horrible idea.
yeah, and oh man. This idea, this like screen life idea is actually kind of a cool idea. Not necessarily for the alien invasion. I mean, maybe it could be done okay, but like this has been done well with like the movie that came out during COVID, Host 2020. That was about like kind of a scary movie of people on a Zoom call and there's
Like
like a
Unfriended,
demon.
kind of.
Yeah.
I remember Unfriended was, I did not like Unfriended.
Yeah, Host is much better than Unfriended. But
Okay.
and then Missing and Searching are
Yeah,
more
those are good.
recent, and those are like thrillers, kind of like as opposed to
Mystery
scary movies.
thrillers.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because,
and
but a lot of what makes those movies work is that they're investigating things on the internet, and
right,
yeah, and they do creative ways to make it, with the cameras and the phones and stuff like that. But uh those stories like fit the gimmick a lot better than this. This doesn't work at all.
yeah. That's the thing. It's like it's interesting because the idea has been done well, right? And there's precedent that you can do this idea of like a screen life movie fairly well. Um, and this just totally fell flat. The framing, particularly like in Searching and Missing, there's times when like you get it zooms in on certain things on the screen and it moves around the screen to provide you with information you need, but get rid of other junk that you don't need, or to limit what you see. Like sometimes you don't notice that there's something. And it does that really well in those movies. And then in this movie, there's like some really terrible moments where it zooms in. So he has the tiny little bubble of a face, right? And so it zooms in on that, but it tries to do like split screen where you still see the other person, but you only see like the corner of it's like the corner of their face because it,
Yeah.
oh,
And also the camera's often zooming in on a thing and then sliding across and going all around and very unnecessarily like following the cursor almost as if like we wouldn't understand that he's clicking on something unless we like zoomed in on it. And yeah, very some poor choices there. But
yeah,
yeah. So I mean, yeah, basically it's Ice Cube works for the NSA, and then an alien invasion happens, and he's also maybe the worst father of all time.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. But so one of the things, obviously, I hope that not everyone here has watched this movie yet. Usually, we are doing spoilers, of course, but you guys do not have needed to see this movie, I think, to listen here. We'll try to
No,
tell you about the
honestly, this movie, if you're looking for something so bad it's good, you could do worse than this movie. If you had a group of friends and so you could drink every time like Ice Cube does a funny facial reaction, or every time, yeah, or every time the screen like glitches a little bit, every time they use like real war footage and they blur out people's faces, which is it's just an insane thing to do. But I'm not to blur out their faces, but to use the actual like war footage in this stupid movie. Like, what are you doing? But the blurred out faces you could do. Anytime something makes absolutely no sense, you could drink and then you'd probably die of alcohol poisoning. Uh but yeah, I
yeah.
think there are so bad it's good elements to this where you can laugh at the movie and laugh at the pure incompetence of it all.
Yeah, I think one of my problems in terms of this being a so bad it's good movie is just the sheer like misunderstanding of the theme that the movie like should have been going for maybe, and the abuse of capitalism. Like this movie is so it's like capitalism the movie. Um it I had a tracker. I was taking notes, and um I counted the number of times that Amazon was mentioned or on screen, and I was at 11 before I stopped. and there might have been one or two more after. I don't really know. I could not keep going.
You were falling apart. Your soul was crumbling.
Yeah, and of course, there's like a whole like commercial for Tesla in the middle of this movie. Um,
I mean, sort of. Not. I mean, also anything can be hacked into at the blink of an eye. Apparently, it's insane. The beginning of this movie that Ice Cube has access to every camera apparently in the world.
yeah,
Like, literally anything, every security camera, every phone, every car. Like he just has access to everything, and there just the way the technology works in this movie is so unrealistic and so like everything happens like at the snap of a finger. E- Everything like there are these how do I describe it? Uh how do I describe it? Icons on people
yeah,
or
right,
on there'll be a oh there's a camera in this building so there's literally a camera like cartoon image of a camera to show us that there's a camera in this building.
yeah,
Like the technology so it makes the technology completely unrealistic and way more powerful than it actually would be, which in a way is probably because they don't trust the audience to have a brain, but also it kind of goes to the why this movie is so evil. I do think this is an actual evil movie
right. Which is
where
why it's like it's hard to say it's so bad it's good because it's like my soul is gone a little.
but
Like
it, but it's
I,
fascinating. It's a little
it
bit
is
fascinating
fascinating.
because this movie presents like Ice Cube is the security state and he represents the government and he is this like god-like figure where he can do anything and access anything. There's it's insane. He can hack a Tesla immediately. He can I mean, access any camera. There are drones everywhere that he can get to and put them wherever he wants. And he presents them as this like all-seeing eye. And it's like a panopticon. And this is the idea that they want everyone to be surveilled at all times. So you're under the watchful eye of the government. And obviously, in the world is becoming more secular. God was sort of had a social utility of this in the past where God is always watching you. You need to act morally. And as that is coming out of favor in like society, I feel like these evil tech billionaires and the government are like, this is our job now to watch everyone at all times and make sure your muffin has protein in it and make sure your fridge is stocked correctly and all this stuff.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's really dystopian. And yes, all the Amazon product placement is is horrible and to the point where it is laughable toward the end. The drone, I mean, when he says it's the future of delivery, that's just hilarious. Like it's literally
yeah,
just a commercial right in the middle of the movie.
yeah,
Uh truly truly idiotic and yeah, pretty evil. Maybe not through all the filmmakers trying to make something that is like this, but that's the effect that it's had.
right. Yeah, it's it's so weird because like thinking about making this movie, right? Thinking about the the outcome, right? You're like you're looking at this movie before release day and you're watching through it and you're like, you know, yeah, I made an awesome thing. You know, like is that I'm curious how much of this was really Rich Lee's in like what he wanted to do versus how much Amazon was like, hey, uh, you have to have one of the main characters be a delivery driver and you have to use the Amazon drone and you have to do all this stuff. And also Tesla gave us a bunch of money, so can you do this thing, right? And hey, uh uh use
They're
every
using
named, use WhatsApp and Facebook enough, right? And
Microsoft products.
right, yeah, use Zoom and Teams and even though you don't need to use both, just use both, right? And mention Starlink a few times and whatever, right? And like, and so I wonder, like, if this movie, like, it's hard to imagine that Rich Lee wanted to make it look this way, right? Like, I can't really imagine coming out of this and like you were saying, like at the end of the movie, like it, did he want to did he go in with nefarious intention? I doubt it, but I think the
No,
people
probably
that
not.
ultimately had control over the movie, they don't have they have nefarious intention to us, but to them it's like they want to make money, right? And that's but that is nefarious, obviously. But like that's what's really going on here, right? Is like it's I think that it's probably just the fact that so like it really is just product placement and capitalism just overreaching into the world of cinema and draining every piece of quality creative thing that this person could have done.
Yeah. I don't think Rich Lee is at fault here. I think he probably got paid a good amount of money to put his name on this and to direct some stuff. It looks like he's directed like a bunch of music videos in the past. He's never directed any like feature films. But there are some producers on here that, from what I saw, I mean, I could be wrong. This is like their only movie. And I'm like, these could be the evil Amazon executives who are the producers of the movie who were making these decisions, you know? But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I mean, I have no idea what Rich Lee would say about this or anyone would say about this. Uh the this is the thing. So I mentioned this before we were recording a little bit that I was having trouble figuring out how to rate this because by the time it was over, I was like, I laughed at this movie a decent amount. It was only 90 minutes long. It wasn't it wasn't the worst experience. I didn't hate the time I spent watching this. It could have been worse. But I was trying to think of a single positive thing about the movie, and I couldn't think of a single thing. There's not a good performance, there's not a good shot, there's not a good
Yeah.
line of dialogue, a
Not good
scene,
special effects.
the effects, none of it, literally none of it is good. And so I had to go, I mean, not to get to our ratings already, but I had to give it a half a star because I truly couldn't think of a single thing that was actually well done in the movie. And I like Ice Cube. Friday is one of my favorite movies. He's made some great songs, you know? Today was a good day, great song.
Yeah.
Eva Longoria, she's awesome. She's she's a beautiful woman. I got nothing against her,
Yeah.
but they don't give good performances in the movie, and I don't
Right.
know that it's their fault. Not acting with people. I mean, there are times it looks like Ice Cube could be reading off of his screen, reading the dialogue off of his screen. Uh, and I don't think it's their fault necessarily, but the reality is that none of their performances are good, and there are plot elements in this movie that are just laughably stupid.
Yeah. It feels so the performances feel especially what's his name? The like defense secretary, whatever, with the he has the AirPods in every time you see him.
Clark Gregg, maybe.
Yes, exactly. That's him. He like it just feels so phoned in, right? And oh, and Michael O'Neill too. He's actually the person I was thinking of at first. But both of them,
Oh, okay.
they both have they
They
both have
probably
like they literally probably did like these recorded at home
one
and sent
day.
it in or something, or whatever. Went in for one day. And
Yeah.
even Ice Cube, he's like his reactions feel so disingenuous and feel so like just so not real, right? It doesn't. He's not reacting to something real that's happening because they put him in front of a TV or a computer and they said, "Do something." It's like poking him with a stick and being like, "Do," but you don't tell him what's
Act.
going. Yeah, right, exactly. And of course, how do you do that, right? It there's no
Yeah. There's no way to make this script good. There's
right.
no way. This script and make it a screen life movie, you can't have it. It can't be a good movie. I don't think it can.
Right. I think if you wanted to do an alien invasion screen life movie, you need something totally different. You need it to be more of like I honestly don't even know off the top of my head, but it needs to be different than this. It needs to be way different because you can't just do it all inside of the NSA safe house thing. It's got to be like 10 Cloverfield Lane, something like that, maybe, where like you're following some guy and he's making video diaries every day or something, and slowly you learn that he actually has someone held captive in his basement, and it's during the alien apocalypse, and all this stuff that you slowly start to reel, but it's more like teased in there, right? And maybe
Yeah.
like
Spoiler warning for Ted Cloverfield, but that's okay.
and
Spoiler warning
and
for a good movie.
and on the screen you start to see like little hints and nuances about the stuff that's going on outside and about a past life that he had or something, right? Like in Missing and Searching, one of the really powerful things in those movies is that there's all these little hints in there's hints to the universe, the broader universe, hints to the people, right? The every desktop that you see in those movies, right? When they're logging in as one person versus another, there's like little things that tell you about that character, right? Just by the icons they choose or whatever, right? Um, and all those things, like there's none of that here. Every time that you look at the screen, there's one little Spotify icon, and then his stupid NSA surveillance app open, and Teams and Zoom, and it's all just cluttered over. But it's all
Oh yeah, the guy,
capitalist. It's
this
all
guy, he's like he's calling like five people at the same time. He's on one call while he's calling this person, and he's emailing this person, and he's doing. Oh my God, it's insane.
yeah. And I think there's also actually while I'm thinking about it, since we're talking about how many times he's on the phone in this stupid movie, also even when he's on the phone, there's this app for some reason on his computer that has a little video of him, and it's like, yeah,
Yes,
sure, whatever, because
on his
it's the
own screen.
NSA or something, but why,
Yeah,
why?
yeah.
And then when other people, when he gives other people access to the screen, towards the end of the movie, he has to give everyone else that he's working with access to his computer because he's going to go down to the basement to try to plug in a flash drive that he got delivered by Amazon drone from his daughter's boyfriend. And he's plugging in the flash drive, but he needs everyone else to be on his
Insane
computer
scene.
to do all this stupid stuff, you know. And when he does that, they all their little faces pop up in that same stupid app thing, like, you know, who has access to the computer. And it's just so like that's not how that works. Like, it's just an excuse to like put the face on the screen. And that's kind of part of the another thing that's searching. And honestly, here's the thing: if you want to watch a Screen Life movie, which I think there's some value, I think they're interesting way to make a movie, just watch Searching or Missing. And if you want to watch an alien invasion movie, just watch. If you want to watch War of the Worlds, just watch the Spielberg or the Haskins ones, or even Orson Welles's radio broadcast is on Spotify. I've listened to it, and it's well worth listening to. It's 100% would recommend. Um,
Nice.
this does not do good at either of those two things because it tries to do both and it fails at both, and it's clearly not made with like good insight into either genre, right? Like,
No,
yeah,
and ultimately, I think the product placement in this movie is it does go beyond product placement to where I think this movie can be legitimately called propaganda. To where
yeah,
this is Amazon propaganda. And when we think of propaganda, we think of, oh, it's like a government, uh, you know, the government
yeah.
is doing the propaganda, spreading misinformation, spreading a certain political ideology through media. But that's exactly what Amazon is doing right here. It says propaganda for Amazon, as Amazon is the future. Amazon is great. Uh, look at all this technology we can do. And it's horrible, yeah. And so ultimately, yeah, I think a half star was what I had to give it because this is a very evil movie. And is War of the Worlds the triumph of the will of our times?
it, uh,
Maybe,
maybe, right? I
maybe
mean,
that or Kanye's next album. One of those will be the next triumph of the will. That's
well, I um yeah, I also gave this. I'm just gonna jump to it too because I was also very torn on my rating because I also left kind of thinking this could not left. I didn't leave it thinking this, but during the movie, pretty. I was like, honestly, this is a 1 star movie. Um, maybe 1.5 even at times. Like not all the time. A lot of it made me feel like it was not a 1.5 star movie, but there's a world where I could have maybe, if this was a little bit funnier at times and a little bit less like
yeah,
whatever.
it could
But
have been okay.
yeah, the main problem that made me drop it down to the half star from the 1 star, right, is the product placement. It really is. And I'm using this quote. It's from my friend Dustin. He called this capitalism the movie. And it does feel like that. It's like you said, it's just propaganda um for
For big
Amazon,
tech,
for
basically.
big tech, and that's the thing. It's
But
like the Tesla commercial, right? It's just propaganda for these huge tech giants that own that really like owns so much media that we consume and owns so much stuff that we use and all this crap.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's interesting because the ending, in a way, is supposed to be anti-government surveillance, I guess. Like, where it's not a good idea to be That's what Ice Cube says. He's like, I'm going to be watching you guys now, not watching what people put in their Amazon carts, which they say like three times. But in the movie, if he didn't have all the NSA surveillance technology within the logic of the movie, he wouldn't have saved the world. So
Exactly.
so it just doesn't fit its own argument at all.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like they realized that like it's like they went into this thinking that it would be good to make a statement on, government oversight and not oversight, but over
Overreach.
surveillance, right? Overreach and over surveillance. But they lost the point of that in the middle. And then finally at the end, they were like, yeah, we have to go back to that. Right.
Yeah.
And that's not how that works. Like your statement, just saying the thing doesn't make the thing the point of the movie, right? The point of the movie here is really that having this much surveillance saves the world, right? Having this much surveillance helps this guy keep everyone safe, including stalking his daughter. Like, because he was doing that, he
Yeah.
was able to keep her alive.
Yep.
He's able to save the world because
Be-
Amazon's able to deliver him a flash drive in the middle of the apocalypse.
with a drone where they can get rid of even more jobs of people who are delivering things for Amazon. But yeah, the Amazon drone saves the day. Which also, another thing that makes no sense in the movie, the Amazon drone getting in the building, there's like a stupid explosion, and then it's like it's so quick that they think people just won't catch it. But it's like that made no sense. What do you
Is
yeah.
that was so at this point in the movie, the kid is using um Ice Cube's computer through remote whatever to control a predator drone to protect the Amazon drone. Remember,
Oh, I
he's
don't even remember
controlling.
that part.
Yeah, he's controlling a predator drone. He's shooting some of the aliens at certain times, and I think he
Right.
blows a hole in the
Okay.
the defense building so that he can go in. But
Sure.
that's also it's like yeah, having predator drones is a good thing, right? That's a great
Yeah.
if we have predator drones that we can control to that's a good thing, right? Let's no,
Yeah.
like come
Yep.
on.
Yep.
Yeah,
Also, the son, I mean, it's insane that this guy saves the world. His son is like the biggest hacker in the world, which is an insane twist, just a horrible, horrible twist. And his daughter is also like a genius biologist who creates like a DNA code that's also digital and biological or something, and it saves the world. I mean, just such a dumb,
yeah.
uh,
Which
yeah.
I guess we should actually talk about the point of one of the other points of the movie, which is these aliens are not invade. So in the 1953 version, they're invading to terraform our planet. And in the 2005 version, that's likely the case, but they never actually say that. But we do see that they're feeding on humans. So they grab a human and they'll suck its blood and all that stuff. Um, I'm not going to give away too much about those movies because I want people to watch those because they're actually good. But that's why they invade. In this movie, they invade for our data. And so they're going to
Whatever that
data,
means.
yeah, whatever that means. They're going to data places, data centers to there's like little tiny bugs for some reason that techno bugs that leave them. They inject a bunch of techno bugs into buildings, and those techno bugs eat data, whatever that means, and that fuels them or something. We never really see what that does, but that's the idea.
And
And
they are hybrid. I think Eva Longoria says like cyber and biological.
right,
That's how she
whatever that
describes them.
means. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Um,
hybrid. They're like cyborg alien things.
yeah. And so the idea at the end is that if they can use the code that the daughter has made, which is some biological thing that tells viruses to eat themselves or something. I don't entirely remember. I think it was a bunch of nonsense, anyways.
Basically, from what I understand, she's trying to cure cancer by rewriting the DNA of cancer cells so that instead of attacking healthy cells, they will attack other cancer cells and eventually, in theory, like kill themselves. So I think that's what happens with this, where they like, where that's what
Right.
happens.
Which is a hilarious misunderstanding of how cancer works, by the way, but not whatever. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
None of the
whatever.
movie made any sense.
No, that's I should yeah, but that's the idea. And so their idea is that if they can they put that onto a flash drive. That's what gets Amazon delivered. He's going to plug it into this data center because then when the aliens feed on it,
It'll attack them, or it's like a yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Although it's
it's
also
kind
like a
of
hive mind thing, I guess, because they all die.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh man.
It's kind of like it's a computer virus, and in, I mean, I think it's fine to say it's War of the Worlds that like, viruses and germs is the reason that like the aliens can't survive on Earth, right? And is that the case in the original book? I'm not sure. I haven't read the book.
That is the case in the original book. As for the other movies, I'm going to leave that up to
It's
y'all to figure out when you watch them because they're
okay, yeah,
great.
yeah, and so it's like the idea is, oh, now it's a computer virus, I guess, instead of a physical virus,
Yeah, I
because they're both
guess.
called viruses, I guess.
Yeah. And and so the man, I'm like having a anyways, the ending of this movie is that, right? The viruses attack the the aliens that are feeding on the building, and then that somehow shuts down all the aliens. Um and it saves the planet or something. But uh uh I don't remember. Oh yeah, so the one of the things that this is saying, right, is that like it's saying that today one of our biggest fears and anxieties, right, is data breaches, right? Because that's what these aliens, that's what they represent, right? They represent the fear and anxiety around people at getting our data, right? Attacking our data or getting our data. And not to be that person, but I understand that I'm not the everyone, right? But are people afraid of data breaches? I feel like they're just a thing that we all accept happens.
I think companies selling our data is more what the thing
Yeah.
that people are mad about, right? Like people, that's the thing.
Yeah. But like, is that something that, like, does that scare us? Like, is that, I don't know. Like, it feels like that's such a, it feels like a
I
really
think
dumb
it,
thing to make an alien invasion movie about.
yeah, more like AI is the big fear now, right?
Yeah.
Which makes more
AI.
sense.
Yeah. And also, like I said at the kind of the intro to this episode sarcastically, I think the bigger fears that people have are like government over surveillance and overreach, uh, big tech and capitalism in a way, right? And those things are actually the protagonist of this movie.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
And
good
it's
point.
like data breaches, which I think like got a lot of news and got a lot of attention a few years ago. And since I think kind of, I don't know, like, yeah, we all get spam texts all the time now. And that's just how it is.
Yeah. It'd be nice if someone did something about that. I hate those fucking spam calls and the texts and all that shit.
It is terrible. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Um,
But AI is definitely scarier. I will say there's a real I just saw a funny Pete Holmes joke about AI, about how we came from fish and how, oh my, how the hell did that happen? Did they just think about growing feet? What the hell? Uh and then, well, what do we do with fish now? Do we worship them? Do we revere them? No, we don't. We put them in fishes in we catch them in nets and we put soy sauce on them and we eat them. And that's why he's terrified of artificial intelligence, because we'll be the fish and artificial intelligence will be probably eating us with soy sauce. They won't give a fuck about us if they're the next evolution of consciousness or life or whatever you want to call it. So and just saying that, it's a great joke. Shout out to Pete Holmes, good comedian, but also that is like a real fear that people have nowadays. I think that's a lot bigger of a fear, or just the fact that Amazon like owns so much shit and they're evil, and all these
right.
massive corporations have so much power, and we're basically living in an oligarchy. And this movie just perpetuates all that basically, and is representative of all those evil individuals who want to control everyone's lives.
Right. Yeah, it feels like this movie totally miss the point in terms of what these invasion movies generally do, right? It feels like, or I don't even think that's necessarily the case. I think it just tried to show the fear of data breaches. And to me, I feel like there's bigger, more relevant fears to most people's lives, right? Like, why would
I,
we be so worried about data breaches when there are
I think
these
the
other big things?
I think the government collecting data is more maybe what it is of like the NSA is collecting all this information and holding on to it, and it can be accessed and hacked into and stuff like that, maybe more than like I don't know, I guess that is a data breach of sorts, but there's the fact of collecting all this data in these data centers is maybe more the fear.
But that was the good thing in the movie. Like
Well,
the
no, because the aliens are gonna use our data to make themselves stronger and kill all of us or whatever.
but the NSA was able to use it in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. The surveillance. Yes, exactly. I'm not saying
Right,
the
right. No, I
movie.
understand.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying maybe the movie's going for that is what they're trying and failing to critique.
Right. I understand that. I
Right.
think that is probably what it's trying to do here. And I think it just misses, right? And I think there's it again, it's like it's bowing down to Amazon and bowing down to the big government surveillance
It
and
is
stuff.
Amazon. I think this movie is just is Amazon. I don't even think of this as
Yeah.
like, oh, Rich Lee directed this movie or whoever wrote this movie wrote it. I'm like, oh no, this is just an Amazon movie. The auteur of this movie is Amazon, the corporation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think
that's
you're totally right about that.
and that's pretty dystopian.
Also the speaking of Amazon making like being this movie's been out for less than a month.
Mm.
I just want to point that out because this movie it's been so hated so quickly.
Oh yeah,
And
everyone on the internet has a video about how awful this movie is. So we're
right,
joining in. We're hopping on the bandwagon.
we're joining the list. But it's amazing that like this huge giant company can so terribly misunderstand its audience, right? It's putting out this thing in what I assume it hopes would make money. And all it did is make people more and more angry at them. Although I'm going to say maybe it also made money, right? People are getting an Amazon Prime. It has a
No,
huge amount of views. Um,
true. And
I
now
don't
there's
know.
ads on Amazon Prime. There are on like Prime Video, there's like an ad break in the middle now. So that they could have made some money off of that. But I think this movie costs like many millions of dollars. So I don't know. I don't think it's gonna make its money back. But I think this movie is like almost Amazon like flexing their muscles, like, fuck you, look how powerful we are. Like we're God. That's what I think, which is
I
so evil.
That's
But that
interesting. I think that they just totally misunderstand. I think that they actually thought this was a good like I thought they thought people would look at this and be like, Amazon, hell yeah.
I mean,
Like look at how cool that drone delivery was.
maybe that's what part of the goal was, but yeah, I think in the like yeah, they probably wanted people to think that Amazon is cool, but also they just want to present themselves as like all powerful gods basically, which isn't that what all these people think they are? Like, I mean, look at fucking Donald Trump and all like
Yeah.
all these Christians, not all Christians obviously, but a large portion of Christians voted for Donald Trump, who is like the most not religious values. Like, you think Jesus, if Jesus came back, he'd like Donald Trump? You have to be insane to think that. Like, you have to just have never read a word of the Bible ever, or like what or whatever. But it's just insane. But these people like Musk or Trump or Bezos, all these billionaires, I think they are like gods or they want to be have that power and they want to be like they want to be gods, I think. And this movie is kind of presenting them as that, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think it also just does a good job of showing us that these people have no idea how the
Mm,
normal people go
yeah.
about their lives and interpret things and view things, right?
Yeah.
It's like I think there really is total cognitive dissonance of them thinking that not just that they want to be gods, but also thinking that like people actually uh, look up to. I mean, I think for
We'll
like
eat any
Bezos,
slop.
yeah, right. It's like anything that you do, they're gonna go and they're itching for. They need whatever the next thing you're gonna put out is. And it's like that's insane. Yeah,
I
I
think
think.
they do think the audience and by proxy like general people are really really stupid, like I said with
Oh
like the
yeah,
little icons, like the drone is flying through and they're like turn left at Han Solo, and then literally there's an icon that it's like a square around the little Han Solo action figure, and it says Han Solo, and it's
yeah. It
like
labels Han Solo.
why would
Insane.
it label Han Solo? And it makes it's in yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But also they think we're so dumb that we wouldn't notice that or think that's ridiculous, and or also they think we're so dumb that we can't see that Han Solo's on the screen and they have to write it down.
Yeah,
Like that's just one example. They do that a million times, like in the movie of. eh, or with the zooming in or anything, like this movie really really thinks the audience is like really low intelligence.
yeah. That's another. I mean, that's really true, and I think you're right that it goes to show kind of how these people actually view the public, right, and view the normal people, right, as they
Yeah.
think that they're oblivious, they're probably dumb, they're just itching for everything you do. It's like they worship you, right, and in reality, it's like we're all actually just very sad that you have all the money. Like that's
Yeah, we just
actually what's
hate
happening.
you. We hate you people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's insane. I think this movie really uh yeah, man, it's just sad. So like there's moments where it's funny and like there's a few bad jokes that you could drink to, but at the end of the day, the movie's also just a really sad realization that like this is what this is what these people want to make, and
Mm.
feel like we want to see.
Yeah, it is a truly evil movie, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to say that this movie actually gets 5 stars because it does say the name of the movie. Have you
It
been seeing
does.
this?
That is a
This
funny.
Yeah, this
There's
letterbox page has been going around the internet now, and taking a break from all the. I feel like I'm getting heated here. Like this movie is heating me up. But there's been this letterbox page, and I forget the name. It might just be called "Does it say the name" or something.
yeah.
And everything gets 5 stars if it says the name of the movie, or half a star if it doesn't say the name of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, very funny. And that scene is hilarious when the president is says this will be a war of the worlds, like just so just dumb. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And again, another example of just it's like I don't know if they is that just them thinking that we're so dumb again? Like that like they just need
Yeah.
to spoon feed us what's happening. It's like
Yeah,
yeah, we
you
under
have to say the title of the movie,
yeah. Like what the
obviously. Otherwise,
they
how do we know what it is?
they also yeah, for real. I don't know what am I watching again?
Yeah, what's this called? I don't know.
They also say the term hyper download, which
I
just
didn't
sounds
catch that.
like that just sounds like you think that we're dumb and don't know that downloads can
It's a
happen or
hype.
I,
It's a hyper download.
it's
It's like
a
it's a super fast download.
whoa.
It's a government download, hyper download.
I actually wouldn't have noticed that it was fast if it happened fast, so I'm
Yeah,
glad they told me it was a hyper download.
that's funny.
um Also, one last thing is his staple button. Did you the staples that was easy
Oh,
button?
forgot about that.
um
Wow.
that's
Yeah,
actually made me I was like that was early in the movie. It happens like 2 times maybe, and I thought
yeah.
it was gonna be a recurring bit, but it only happens those 2 times. But I was honestly like, oh, this is some so bad it's good juice right here.
Yeah, what a random like thing. Is Staples even are they in business? I'm not sure. That was a big thing in like the early 2000s. Also, when he says, did you say that was this oh, this was before we were recording, I think. But Ice Cube says like, "Move, bitch, get out the
Yeah.
way." Like the Ludacris song, which is also from the early 2000s. Like is this script that old? Were they working with like a 20-year-old script and they tried to adapt it into
Yeah.
the screen life thing? I don't know.
They wrote this like they yeah, this movie was actually written like 5 years after Spielberg's movie, and then they were like,
Yeah,
well,
man. It could have been. Imagine it was written right before, and then they were like, "Oh, Spielberg's making it. Like, put this in the drawer. Maybe we can pull it out in 20 years and make the most evil movie of all time."
yeah. And then what actually happened is Amazon like bought some company, and that company had this in a drawer somewhere, and they were like, hey, we could do that.
Oh man,
um
yeah. Movie sucks.
Insane.
Should we do a rating recap just to finish it off? Because this movie
Yeah.
has it is really really everyone hates it, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I will say that I'm glad that we picked this one because of all the movies on there, there's a lot of movies that I think would have been kind of funny to watch, and maybe we could talk a little bit about some of the funny, so bad it's good moments, and then also some of the bad moments. But this movie I feel like has a lot to talk about. I know it's been talked to death also, so that's kind of a downside. We're late to the party, but also um, it was surprising in just how dystopian it was. Uh, but I'm glad that
Yep.
it's also getting the hate it deserves. And like you said, the rating recap. I want to actually start with the Rotten Tomatoes critic score, which is a whopping 3%. Um, three, which is out of 100. There's 100% in a hole, so that's
Thank you.
crazy.
Thank you, Rich Lee, for just explaining that for me.
I got you. And then it has a 2.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 21% for its audience score,
Quite high.
and and 1 out of 5 on exactly a 1.0 out of 5 on Letterboxd right now.
Yep.
Which gives it an
Would
average out of 10 of 1.8.
Wow.
Which means that's insane. That's like a 0.9 on Letterbox, essentially, if we're going by
Yeah.
Letterbox metrics.
And that is, I believe it is the second lowest average rating on Letterboxd on the entire app.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Evolution must be the lowest. Yeah, and that
I
has like
believe so.
does that have like a 0.6 somehow?
I think it's a 0.9.
Okay, that makes sense because 0.6 is probably impossible realistically. But
Maybe War of the Worlds too.
I'll make that.
Starring Ice-T. But
Anyways,
yeah,
that's I think it's a
that's
well-deserved 1.8 out of 10.
yeah. And that's got to be the lowest we'll ever do. I can't imagine we'll ever cover a movie with a lower average rating than that. So
God,
we
I hope
found our
not.
basement. We found our rock bottom.
I feel like I don't even know, like, if we averaged what Dragon Ball Evolution's like IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes scores are. I don't even know if it would be lower than this. It's possible they'd be right there because that's a
Mhm.
0.9, this is a 1.0 on Letterboxd. So it's
Yeah.
possible, even if for some ungodly reason we covered that movie, this might still end up being the lowest one based on our
Yeah.
app. Um, oh man.
All right. Is that it? That's it for War of the Worlds. It's
Yeah.
time to move on to my pick with a whopping 1.3 average rating on Letterboxd. We have Cats, the 2019 adaptation of the world-renowned, pretty famous stage musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber, who's also incredibly well known. He did, Jesus Christ Superstar, he did Phantom of the Opera. Uh, I think there's some other stuff that's like pretty famous. I'm not a big stage musical theater guy, but I know Andrew Lloyd Webber. I know the name. And yeah, this is like a crazy talent bomb. It came out in 2019. It has the CGI. It was okay. Hold on. Let's get into basically. I guess we'll go over the basic plot of the movie. There's an hour, maybe an hour and 10, 15 minutes of cats introducing themselves. And they say, "Hey, I'm this cat. I'm this cat." And there's songs and they dance. And then at the end, there's a cat gets picked to go on to heaven thing, whatever's going on, and then the movie ends. And that's the whole movie. That's all there is to it. It's pretty insane. Uh, so yeah, I guess that was the plot breakdown.
I'm
Ryan,
actually glad. I'm glad that you just said the plot like that because I was trying to think of how to explain the plot to this movie. And I'm going to be honest, I'm still very confused on what actually happens in this movie. It
yeah,
seemed like all that happened was we met a cat, and then we met another cat, and then we met two cats at once, and then we met another cat. And then eventually we met a bad cat. And then we met more
yeah,
cats. And then there was a bad cat that kidnapped a cat. And then we met another cat.
yeah.
And then the movie ended with a cat that we barely just met. Well, kind of, whatever. That just,
Mhm.
whatever.
The outcast cat.
The outcast cat that we met through a song
Mhm.
gets sent into heaven. And I was like, did I miss something?
That's the whole thing. That's it. That's all it is. It's insane. Uh, and I think a large part of the appeal of the play Cats, which I've never seen it performed. I guess I've seen little clips here and there I looked at like during this week. And it's very like silly. There are people in cat costumes, their faces are painted like cats. They have silly costumes on and they dance around, they go into the crowd. It's like interactive and it's mainly silly and fun. And I think that's a large part of the appeal. And I think just a core issue with this movie is that they tried to take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
only moments of comedy are also not funny. It's like James Corden and Rebel Wilson like he like hits his balls on a trash can or like there's a couple bad jokes. But aside from that, it's taken extremely seriously. And it was just completely the wrong idea of how to do Cats. Cats should have been a colorful, fun extravaganza. And instead they tried to make it an emotional journey. And it's just nothing in there for that. So I think it like fundamentally misunderstood the appeal of the original play.
yeah, I think maybe another movie that kind of fundamentally misunderstands the source material,
Yeah,
right? Because I think War of the Worlds really did fundamentally misunderstand what it was supposed to be doing, and yeah, I mean, I think I saw, and I haven't
I,
watched this, but I did see that the musical you can watch a live recording, not live anymore, but a recorded version of it on for free online. It looks like you can find it on there. So I would probably just recommend people to watch that, I assume. I mean, I haven't seen it, but God, it's got to be
can't be
better than
worse.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think a difference with War of the Worlds and Cats is that I think War of the Worlds might be like maliciously misunderstanding or presenting things in a bad way in that it has an evil core to it. Cats, I think people are trying their best to make something good and they're just stumbling and it's not working.
Yeah.
But I think it has better intentions than War of the Worlds.
I agree. Although I will say that some of the trying here looks pretty bad in terms of the not even just that the special effects actually look bad, but that they were so poorly helped here that like apparently Hooper had like been very harsh on the special effects artists, so much so that like he wouldn't watch anything unless it was fully edited, fully animated 100% before giving any corrections. And that of course drags on the process here of making something, and uh ultimately it led to them like apparently they finished the special effects for this movie hours before it premiered. And this movie iconically had when it went to theaters, it iconically had like human hands at points and like non-edited pieces of human bodies at every once in a while that had to get
Whoa.
fixed. So theaters actually got a different DCP sent to them and asked to
Wow.
present that one instead after at some point. Because and I think this really comes down to I don't think that Hooper really knew how to work with making this type of movie. And so he tried
Hmm.
to make it very similar to the way he would have made something like Les Mis, right? Um and unfortunately, that's not how you this is a very different type of movie. I don't know why they chose to make it this weird CGI live action-esque
Yeah. I
thing.
it's tough because I think the only way you can do it is animation.
Yeah,
I think it has to be animated because
right.
in a movie setting, like the people in costumes is not gonna work. I mean, it would just be you'd have to go really silly with it, you know?
If you're doing like a if there's a low budget type of thing making this movie, it'd be funny, right? You could do something fun with that. And that's kind of the goal.
Yeah,
But with so much money, I mean you got to go on, you know, animation.
I guess. Yeah, it's tough. It's just a tough thing to adapt because also there's like barely a story here.
Yeah.
There's almost no plot to the movie. When we were like we were over an hour into the movie and they said look at this train cat. I nearly lost my mind. I was like, why are we introducing another cat? We're getting to the end of the movie. Like, we
Yeah.
don't need another random cat who does nothing. The train cat is useless. Fuck the
Yeah.
train cat. You could have cut the train cat out of the movie and it wouldn't have changed a single thing. It's just, oh my God.
You could have cut
Insane.
most of these cats out of the movie.
Well,
This movie,
yeah.
here's my take on this. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit because I actually did enjoy one part of this movie,
Mm.
but I think this movie could have been what I'm about to say, kind of cut out, right? Like you could have had a 15-minute short and it could have been the same stupid CGI looking live action motion captured thing. And it would have been kind of uncanny, but it's not a whole ass hour and 50 minutes that people have to sit through. So people might have laughed at the uncanniness. And I think this piece is actually kind of good. And it's when Taylor Swift comes out. I'm gonna say it. The Taylor Swift song was kind of a banger. And it's like this, it's the only point of the movie where there's actually a plot happening too, because this is when they're kidnapping the like judge, I guess. I don't really all their names, by the way, are so dumb.
They're crazy names, yeah.
And
They've been kidnapping people through the
right.
thing because they want whatever the guy McCavity, played by Idris Elba. Insane Idris Elba's in this movie.
Yeah.
But uh he's like wants to be the only one to in the competition left so that he can
Right.
go to
But
heaven or whatever.
it's essentially what that looks like for the most part, though, is like a cat doing a performance. And then after that, getting kidnapped really quietly in the
Yes.
background. And
Through
nobody, and
magic. He's
yeah,
magical.
there's really no plot there. It just happens. And this scene, though, there's actually the plot. It's like an invasion into the competition. And she's singing, and the song's actually kind of a like, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, give me a few more minutes of this. And
I
then
don't know if I can agree with that.
the song after this, Mr. Mr. Mistopheles um
Yeah.
sings about being the magic cat. And it's actually, and I actually kind of liked that one too. And I think I might have just been living on the high of the last one. But if all I watched was those two songs, one, that actually would have told me enough of the plot. That told me the whole plot that they kidnapped the judge because he wants to be the winner, and then they get her back. Right? That's great. That's all I need. You know, and I actually somewhat enjoyed compared to all the other schlop in this. All the songs, there was no other songs that I somewhat enjoyed. I didn't enjoy anything else. I'm sorry.
I think the very beginning of the movie, the which I will okay, so I'm watching I turn on this movie. It's on Netflix. And I say, you know what? I should watch it without subtitles because that's how that's how you'd see it in the theater. I'd like to watch a movie without subtitles. I could barely understand a word that they were saying, and most of them were just jellicles. They kept saying jellicles over and over again. That was 50% of the lyrics were jellicles. I'm a jellicle cat in a jellicle world. You're just a jellicle ball. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows what a jellicle is? It's nonsense. But I mean,
Yeah.
so from then on, I watched with subtitles so I could understand what they were saying. And honestly, none of what they were saying mattered at all. It was all just nonsense. And the reason for this, I believe that Andrew Lloyd Webber based the play on T.S. Eliot poems. And so the
Right.
lyrics are just poems, which means that they're not meant to be sung or in a song. And so it doesn't rhyme, often
Right.
does not fit within like bars or like music. It doesn't have a good flow to it at all. So pretty much all the songs suck, in my opinion.
And a
The
lot of the
end
times, sorry, yeah.
I was gonna say one of the only songs I thought was actually good was in the middle of the movie. Our main cat, Victoria, sings with the Jennifer Hudson cat,
Mhm.
Grisabella, and they sing about her kind of being an outcast, like being unwanted, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, this song is actually like okay. And we looked it up, and apparently that is the only song that's not in the original play.
Yeah. And who
And
was it
so
written by? Do you know?
co-written by Taylor Swift. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying is that you can't make a serious like movie out of the cat's
Yeah.
original the play. I just it doesn't make any sense.
It
So that's
doesn't
a
help.
core issue with the movie.
Right. And it doesn't help that all the names, like you were saying, you need subtitles to understand them because they're things like Mr. Mistopheles
I
and Boostifer whatever and
Boostifer
Skimble.
Jones.
Is it Skimble Shanks at one point?
I don't know about that one. Oh yeah. Skimbleshanks. Yeah. He's the
Uh,
railway cat. Fuck
yep.
Skimbleshanks. Uh
Um,
Also I liked Rum Tum Tugger, played by Jason Derulo. Maybe one of the no offense to Jason Derulo. He had a good time in our childhood. Jason Derulo, very funny. He's
mhm.
had some hits back in the day. He's trying to do a British accent here. I don't think he's British. Is he British? No, he's not. He's American, which makes
He
sense
can't.
because his
He
British
cannot be
accent
British.
sucks. No, his British accent's horrible. And his character is that was rough. That was a
Yeah.
rough part of the movie.
Oh man.
And also he didn't have to be in the movie. He had there was no point in being there.
That's the
Also
thing. Yeah, it's like everything here would be goofy and funny, right? Because the names are goofy, the lyrics are whimsical, the characters don't matter. It should have just been like Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat style or something.
yeah, yeah, you're right, 100%.
Not the live action, the new upcoming one.
Hey, even the live action could have been better than this, right?
Yeah. Oh my, I would have rather
The
watched it.
yeah, I know. But yeah, another big problem with the movie is the scale of the cats. There are some
Yeah.
scenes where the cats are huge, and some where they're tiny, some where they're pretty cat-sized. But then like the railway scene, they're like the size of like mice, like
Yeah.
small mice. And it's very strange how they just couldn't figure out the scale of the cats. I do wonder, I mean, I didn't know about how rushed it seemed, but
Yeah.
maybe they just needed, I mean, the whole thing is kind of misguided from the beginning to make such a serious adaptation of cats. But maybe if they had had more time, they could have figured out some of the kinks. It
Yeah.
still would have been a pretty much a disaster.
I mean, also apparently the special effects people were working like 80 to 90-hour weeks to
Oh my
make this all
gosh.
happen
For this.
for
Oh,
this. And
jeez, that is horrible.
yeah, and also a sad thing about this is those companies went out of business after this,
Oh,
and those people got laid off because, and I really don't
oh,
think it's their fault. I think the movie looks terrible, but that's because it's so rushed. It's so, the director forced them to fully make a scene before offering feedback, right? And
yeah,
like, how are you supposed to do it, right? And then
yeah,
obviously different people worked on different scenes making weird mesh ups because you can't collaborate when you have such a small time frame and you have to make every single piece of the scene before you can move on, right?
yeah,
And so I think all of that put together, like, this is a great example of, like, this happens all the time with video games, right? It happens all the time with animation, I'm sure, where like people are so overworked and undervalued and their efforts cannot make it good, right? They can, no matter how good they are, no matter how much they work, it will not happen. And I think this
yeah.
is unfortunately what happened.
And the weird cat human hybrid animation is is kind of the main thing that people know about this movie, I feel like when the trailer came out and everything, it was like, what is this? This looks insane. But I actually think it's not nearly one of the worst parts of the movie. I think there
Right.
are several issues that are way more of a problem than the animation style. Because honestly, like once I got used to it, I didn't mind the animation that much. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't the reason the movie was so bad. There are a lot of other reasons of the songs being not good, the the tone being disastrous, just way too serious for for this, and and the movie not having at all the semblance of an interesting plot. So
Right.
yeah, but even just from the beginning, like when our Victoria cat gets thrown out into the alley and there's a sequence or whatever, I was like, this might not be terrible. And it was just the movie was poorly done and it just none of it worked.
Yeah. That I had this very similar feeling. And also, by the way, the same thing with the subtitles, but
Mm,
very similar feeling at the beginning of like, yeah, like this could be okay. I'm not too nervous. Like, I'm not too, I understand that like people hate it, but why? Right. I can watch through this. And then in the middle, oh man, I was at a very low point. And that's when the Taylor Swift song really hit, right? I was like,
Mm,
okay, this is like a functional song. It's actually well sung. It's like I understand what's happening in the plot for a split moment. And I think I'm also so used to the cats that I don't really care
mm,
that it looks so strange. And
yeah.
then the next song happens, and then it kind of wears off a little bit at the end, but I kind of left on a high note. I didn't like the animation really wasn't the killer to this movie. It's everything that happened in the hour and 30 minutes that didn't involve the last two songs that I kind of liked.
Yeah. Yeah. And like also so many people in this movie are just miscast. Where Judy Dench,
Miscast.
oh, Miss Cats, yeah, yeah, they should not have been cats. I mean, like Judy Dench, Idris Elba, Ian McKellen, Ray Winstone. These are all great actors, and they but they're not singers. I guess Idris Elba does make music, and like his singing wasn't that bad, but mainly like Ray Winstone, Ian McKellen, Judy Dench.
Yeah.
None of them are really good singers, and this is not their fault. Their that's not what they do. They're
Right.
actors, and they're great actors. But why put them like and it just comes from I think them wanting to make this a serious prestige thing. It's like, oh look, it's serious because it has these great actors in it. And but that's not what this movie should have been. This should
Right.
have been a silly fun time. And you should have cast like people who could sing to sing these songs, probably.
Yeah. I mean, because and then there's also parts where the songs are just spoken. Like they're just talking and kind of a little,
Yeah.
it's like,
That's the more like James Corden, Rebel Wilson, like they're kind of doing that thing
yeah. And it's like,
also.
why even why even have them here?
Yeah, it's very very strange. I think maybe for like prestige,
Yeah,
they
right.
want like Tom Hooper makes like kind of Oscar baity movie, like serious movies. I mean, also this is like, well, actually, it's interesting because I mean, Steven Spielberg is not like a credited producer or anything like this, but it is Amblin Productions. I saw that at the beginning, so I don't know what was up with that, but it has like big names behind it, so they wanted
Right.
to make it people to take it seriously, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, this obviously it was kind of I mean, it's made on I think I wrote down for some reason I wrote down 80 to 100 million dollars. I don't remember where I got
Oh,
that from, but that seems like a low ball. I mean, that seems this must have had more than that money, more than that. That must have been like just production maybe or something. But again, I don't remember where I got that number, but this is a
I mean,
huge budget.
on Wikipedia, the budget is listed as 80 to 100 million dollars,
That's probably where I
and
got it.
the box office is 75 uh million. Yeah.
How is the box? Whatever,
It
whatever.
made it, people
How?
want this was a kind of a phenomenon of people
Yeah,
seeing how awful this was. I will also say we both didn't have as many issues with the animation, but we probably saw the more updated version.
right.
Maybe those first couple weeks in theaters, the animation was significantly worse. So take that with a grain of salt, I guess.
That is true. Like I said, it did have to get updated. I don't know what that looks like, but
Yeah.
also it's interesting to me with War of the Worlds. There's already been 143,000 people that have logged in on Letterboxd, which again, it's been out for less than a month technically. And I think just like how you said this made a huge amount of money in the box office, it's interesting that people do kind of swarm to these terrible movies. Like everyone
Yeah.
knows that War of the Worlds is going to be terrible. Everyone knew that Cats was a weird, uncanny, strange thing to go watch, but people did it, right? That's strange.
Yeah. I think there
We did it,
is like I on one hand, I think it can be helpful to watch a bad movie
definitely.
because you can see what goes wrong and you can appreciate movies that do things better. So that is a good thing. But also, I think there is like a more cynical like thing of people just want to shit on something to like feel better about themselves. And if you watch something that's really bad, you can make fun of it and you can like
Yeah.
almost by proxy you're like, well, I'm better than this movie, and you can laugh at it and make fun of it. And that's kind of a shitty element of this type of like watching bad movies and making fun of them. So yeah, I don't know, not that I
Yeah.
have never done that, but I think
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a positive thing
Right.
always.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of valid. Like, I think it can be really fun sometimes to watch like a best of the worst type of thing, and like, oh, you pick out a few movies and you watch them, and they're all bad, but you have a good time with it. The thing that surprised, like, the thing is that neither of these really had that much good time in them. I mean, there's a few moments in each of them, I think, for me, but ultimately, it's like I think that's hard to judge, right? I mean, like if you want to have a good time watching a bad movie, it's hard to know if watching this, Cats is in the theaters, and you're like, when will I ever get to watch something this weird in theaters, right?
Mm.
Or War of the
Yeah.
Worlds, everyone's talking about it. It's like maybe this will actually be kind of interesting to see.
And they are quite like unique meltdowns. I think people are more drawn to like the extremes. If something's just like purely mediocre and or like kind of bad, then it's usually pretty boring. I think when it's a really big failure, it can be people's eyes are drawn to it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And they,
And sorry, but they're both
yeah,
well-known properties
right.
as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say too. Yeah, well-known properties, lots of money put into them. I mean, uh, yeah, and I think there's also just a fascination of like the worst things. I think people are interested in these superlatives. And there's obviously the
Mm,
best, but there's also the worst, right? I mean, that's the same. It's why there's the Oscars, but it's also why there's the Razzies, right? And this
mm,
movie actually won a few Razzies, a few as in
mm.
six. it
Wow.
it won six Razzie awards. It won in 2020. It won worst director, worst picture, worst supporting characters for both Corden and Wilson. Hilarious. Um, Worst screenplay and worst on-screen combo, which was for the half cat, half human things that were all over the movie.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So six Razzies. I mean, again, like the Razzies are there because people are fascinated kind of by terrible things. Terrible.
Yeah.
What is the
And
worst that people made?
I think an appeal of the Razzies, which I have never paid attention to the Razzies or cared about the Razzies, but I think there is a certain appeal to it of Hollywood. A lot of celebrities present themselves as great people where if you should pay attention to us, look how great we are. And people want to take them down a peg. And I mean, the public loves just taking people down. Like if someone is famous, they love a downfall, like I mean, you could go back, I don't know who, like Britney Spears or any number of people who have had personal issues. Like they're all over the tabloids. People like watching a train wreck in some ways. And I do think there is like a thing where it makes people feel better about themselves that, oh, look at this big Hollywood movie is a piece of shit. Um, so I think that is kind of an appeal of the Razzies is that in a way, like maybe the best version of this is like when Ricky Gervais was like making fun of celebrities at like the Golden Globes and he would kind of like shit on them a little bit, but it was funny. And I feel like that's the best version of this, but there's also a really negative version where it's just like shitting on people?
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's kind of like a roast, right? Like roasts,
Right. Yeah,
right? A
yeah.
lot of people, and I feel like the Razzies are kind of like the movie roasts, right? And like
Mm.
a lot of like I remember when uh Catwoman got the award. I'm forgetting the actress name. Uh
Oh, Halle Berry?
yeah, Halle Berry. She got the
Yeah.
award and she was up there and she was having a good time with it, right? And everything when she got the Razzie for that. And so I feel like in a way it can be kind of a cathartic kind of like uh acknowledgement and also just kind of a fun time like messing around and recalling this thing that you did that I don't know, whatever, right?
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know. I think
And there
there's all sorts of reasons to watch bad things, I guess.
Yeah. And there are also now like I'm trying to think of this. I think this happened recently where something was like kind of went viral for being bad and the studio like tried to capitalize on that and uh like put it back in theaters maybe to try to make more money off of like the negative hype
Was
basically.
that Morbius maybe? Did that happen with
Oh,
Morbius?
it could have been Morbius. Yeah, or Madam
Yeah.
Web maybe.
Yeah, one of
Maybe one of
those.
yeah. And so yeah, they kind of understand that. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, no, all press is good press in a way. And if you have people talking about it, like Cats made $75 million, and all those animators lost their jobs and probably got fucked over and had to work these horrible hours, but they probably made the studio probably made some of their money back through the bad press for the movie, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's like, I think and there's a lot of just production companies that just kind of intention and probably directors that just kind of intentionally make things that are kind of not, maybe they're going for so bad they're good, right? That's probably what the intention is. But there's also like I was trying to think of the name last week even. And I think it's like Paradigm maybe or whatever, that company that kind of just makes um kind of they try to capitalize on the names, right? So they made,
Like Atlantic Rim, for
yeah,
example, that
exactly.
company. I forget the name of that company, but yeah, I
Yeah,
know what you mean.
right. But so like, there's all sorts of reasons to make intentionally bad stuff. And there's all sorts of reasons to try to capitalize on it if something that you made ends up being bad, right? Like you said, all press
Mm,
is good press, right? Re-release Morbius, right? It's Morbin time, whatever,
mm.
right? And
Or even like Showgirls has sort of been like it's so bad it's good, but also people genuinely appreciate aspects of it, and it's kind of gained a cult following.
yeah,
So yeah, that's kind of a more positive example of this, maybe.
yeah. It's just really interesting, I think. The whole, I mean, there's like I even put in the category of bottom 250 on Letterboxd, right? Like there
Hmm.
is a fascination with like
Yeah,
the
we wouldn't have
yeah,
put like movies rated 2.5 on Letterboxd. Like that wouldn't be as interesting as something rated a 1.3, you know?
right. Yeah, right. And so in a way, and honestly, like this is kind of the most amped, not amped, but like heated I've been talking about movies on the podcast, right? It's like they're just so like parts of it. Like I think these two particularly, mostly War of the Worlds maybe, but are almost like offensive in a way, right? Like you said, War of the Worlds is kind of it feels very nefarious, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so in a way too, like there is that of like people can kind of come together when something is seen as not just that it's like so bad, but it's also so bad that it's insulting, right? And it's yeah,
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from with that. Like people shitting on War of the Worlds is like, oh, you kind of deserve it. Like, fuck you, Amazon. But also, some of the people working on it, maybe, I mean, they probably don't. I don't know. Who knows? But but yes, and Cats, I don't think Cats was as bad as War of the Worlds. There were some elements that I thought were decent. Like I think the main actress Francesca Hayward, I think like her singing was pretty good. Basically, none of the performances are able to be good because there's so much CGI on them that you can't really connect. But I think Jennifer Hudson actually like did a pretty good job uh, with her character being sort of the emotional center of the movie, and she's a great singer, obviously. And yeah, like you said, Taylor Swift is like she's charismatic and she's like a good singer. I like Taylor Swift. I got nothing against Taylor Swift. I just don't think that the song itself was that good. But like mainly Francesca Hayward, Jennifer Hudson, Taylor Swift, they're good singers. They did a decent job singing these not very good songs, in my opinion. Uh, and I think some of the choreography was was like decent. It's just the way it's filmed actually takes away from the choreography. Like
absolutely.
when you're making a musical, you want like wide shots. I mean, there are a bunch of great musicals, obviously. You can, I mean, Umbrellas of Cherbourg, Singing in the Rain, La La Land, whatever, An American in Paris. Movies with great uh choreography and dancing and everything. And this movie, like, there's so much handheld camera and close-ups, and it'll be showing the person singing, and in the background you can see that people are dancing, but you can't really see the whole scene.
Right.
I do think
Yeah.
maybe that Taylor Swift sequence, maybe they do a little bit of a better job showing us the full choreography of what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, but and maybe in like the opening sequence there was a little bit of that I thought where it was like I don't know. It was like just like the cats were coming from all over. She was overwhelmed and stuff. So I think the choreography wasn't really a problem with the movie. It's just that the filmmaking didn't never took advantage of the good choreography that was there.
Right. So then you're left one like you're left being like, yeah, I can see like I think that Francesca Hayward is actually a ballet dancer. I think that's where
Yeah,
her background is. And it's like, yeah, I can see that maybe this is good dancing. I can see that maybe, but then it's like also you didn't really let me see that very well, you know? And also you're
yeah,
covering it all up with like fake tails and ears that are moving at times. And it's like you're doing everything you can to hide the good parts in a way, you know?
yeah,
But I agree that I definitely did not have as many issues with this as War of the Worlds. And there were a few things I liked about this movie. So I
yeah.
left it on kind
And
of a high note almost.
yeah, and in a way, like War of the Worlds, I think nefarious was a good word to use, where it does come off as, nefarious, evil, dystopian, all these things. Cats comes off as a genuine attempt to do something that just failed in a lot of ways. And so it had better intentions, and it didn't come off to me as insulting. It
Right.
just came off to me as something that just was uh what's the word? Like it
Misguided.
misguided. Yes, that's
Yeah,
a good way. Yes. It was
I agree.
misguided to try to make a serious uh adaptation of a completely silly play.
Which is it's just so interesting also just going back real quick to the fact that um that Tom Hooper made this. You know, I mean this is almost a decade after
Yeah.
Les Mis, but Les Mis is pretty. I've only seen it once. It was a long time ago, but I know it's like it's considered an epic, right? It's pretty great. It's good. You know, I think people like it a lot.
Yeah, some
And
people I've never seen Les Mis, but I know some people don't like the singing in that because it's like kind of like this, like it's Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe and stuff, and they're not really singers. So I
yeah,
think I remember that being a critique of Les Mis, but I think in general it's certainly not as bad as Cats. I mean,
right. And then it's like he hasn't done anything since in terms of big features. I don't know what else, but he hasn't done another big feature since Cats, and it.
it looks like he has a movie coming out in 2026 called
Oh,
Photograph 51 with Natalie
okay,
Portman. It looks to be just a serious, probably Oscar baity drama, which is because that's kind of what he makes, I
yeah,
guess. That's just what I associate with him because of like the King's Speech, the Danish Girl.
yeah. Yeah. So, like, I guess I'm glad. I was gonna say that, other than potentially how he treated, the VFX people, which I think part of that is also just not knowing how to make this type of movie, not knowing how to deal with
Mhm.
that type of production. Um, I hope that he is able to come back from this and make another good movie. And it just feels like such a weird blip in his filmography from what's otherwise like pretty well regarded stuff, even if Oscar
Yeah,
baity, right? Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just he was just the wrong choice to direct this for sure. Like, why? I don't know. I wonder who would have been a better choice. Someone bright, colorful, wacky, but also could direct a musical.
I would love to have seen this an attempt of this with Wes Anderson collaborating with someone maybe that could make like the musical aspects, but like his
It
wacky
would
kind of
stop motion.
colorfulness. Yeah, yeah, with the animation, right? Not like this, not
Interesting.
like the motion capture stuff, but like
No.
his
Well,
style. But I don't know.
I think if it was stop motion like Fantastic Mr. Fox or Isle of Dogs, that could be interesting. I'd like him to do, yeah, Isle of Dogs, cats, there you go. That would work. But I'd like him to make a musical. I
That'd be
think that could
cool.
be an interesting wait thing for him to do.
Cats 2030, Wes
No,
Anderson.
not cats. Don't do cats, Wes. If he did cats, it'd have to be a complete different thing because there's just core issues with cats. Like you can't have a movie where you're just introducing cats. There was also multiple times in this where there's I forget exactly who it was. There's too many cats in this movie and none of them matter. So there's like 20 cats and like two of them matter. Like
Right.
what are we doing? But there's a point where someone goes, "Oh, blah blah blah. who's that? And I went, no, not another one. Oh no, another song introducing a cat. And right after that, it happens again where someone else goes, who's that cat? And we go, oh my God, another one. And it just song after song introducing these cats. It was just, you can't make a movie with this structure. It just doesn't, I just don't think it can work. Maybe it could if it was silly and fun enough. Maybe it could, but I think you gotta work around this somehow.
Yeah.
Or
I
maybe it's
mean,
just not made to be a movie. Maybe you have to experience it in a theater setting, and that's what it's meant for.
yeah, and there's no problem with that, right? I mean, that's okay, right?
Yeah.
We don't, not everything needs to be a movie. I think that's
No.
an important thing for people to keep in mind, right? Like your favorite book, your favorite musical. These things don't have to come to the quote unquote big screen, right? The best way to
Yeah.
experience those things can very well be the format they first were made.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and each art form has its like the things that it's better at than others. Like in a novel, you can get first person perspective like in someone's head and you can really get deep into that character in that way, like inside their head, hearing their thoughts and their and all that kind of stuff. And that can be fascinating. It's a lot harder to do that in a movie. It's, in movies are really less well suited to that type of a thing. And that's just a factor of the medium. Like it just is what it is. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not meant to be a movie.
Well, I don't have, the only last thing I have to say about Cats involves the ratings that we have for it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you have anything before we jump there.
No, I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, this was not as insulting as War of the Worlds, and there were elements that I didn't hate. However, it was quite poor in a lot of ways. I gave it 1 star. I gave War of the Worlds a half star. I gave Cats 1 star out of 5.
Well, Meow, I will say my rating. Um,
All right.
it's
What
like,
are we doing?
it's like now, get it? Listen,
Yeah.
it took me a lot of
All right,
restraint to
Rich
actually
Lee.
listen. I actually, my notes, I did not, we talked last episode about our progressively less note taking stuff, and my notes consist of very few facts and then a bunch of cat puns that I really wanted to say on the show, and I refused. So you're welcome.
You can. What are the other ones? I want to hear them.
I've got fur now, like instead
That's
of
all
for
for
now.
now. For
Yep,
now.
for
Mm.
now. I've got meow, of course. I was gonna say meow like 10 times. I was like every time I was gonna be
Every time
like,
you say now, you're gonna say
yeah,
meow.
exactly. Um, uh, those are the big ones. I've got pause written down as an option. Like, let's take a pause real quick, but like,
Yeah, I this movie was so bad I had to pause it multiple times. Yeah.
yes, yep, yep.
No, not
Something about
really.
hissing.
I do think I watched through Cats pretty much straight through. I didn't really need any breaks.
It's weird that you said you think.
I think I did. From what I remember, I don't think I paused it at all. I could
I
have, but
I blacked out in the middle, but no. I also wrote down hiss. Like I could say instead of this, I could be like, I thought hiss so bad that, but
that
you
is a
can
stretch. That one's a stretch.
listen.
That one's a big stretch. Like a
It's
cat. Like a
just
cat stretches.
like a
Big
cat. Hey,
stretch.
that's good. That's good. It's really just a list. I mean, I didn't really think too. I said to myself early on in that list, I said I can't put Shane through. I can't put you guys through that.
I think you should have done it, and it was a little bit cowardly, a little bit of a pussy move. There we go.
Okay, okay. Um,
Not really
well,
calling you pussy, just a
oh
cat
no,
pun. Had to
yeah,
do it.
it's a good cat pun. Um,
Yeah.
I also I threw all my thoughts in the bin and I was whiskering them around and I said, you know what, this this is also not as bad as War of the Worlds. Maybe I'm unjustly comparing the two. Like, they're supposed to be their own thing, obviously, blah blah. I did kind of like the Taylor Swift song. I kind of liked the song right after it. I gave it 1 star, and I think that's pretty much where I am happy with. I think
Yep.
the problem with those two, like I do like those, and if it was just those, this probably could have been like 2 stars maybe. If I just watched like a 7-minute thing that was just those two songs, I could have given
Mm.
those maybe even more than 2 stars. I don't know, but
It is pretty incredible. Like that train one, I think I really did almost like I dissociated a little bit. I was like out of body experience. Like, why are we watching another cat get introduced?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so like the fact that we had to sit through so much of this
yeah.
and none of it mattered was again, and I don't really want to say it's not insulting in the same way as War of the Worlds, but it was just a waste of my time, like
Mm.
not to sound like whatever. I don't want to say it's really a waste of time because I think I still got something out of watching this, but
Yeah,
I it was not very enjoyable for the most
I
part.
do think for picking absolutely bad movies, they were both like relatively worth my time. I think they were
Yeah.
interesting. They were there was plenty for us to talk about, and we could have picked a lot worse movies to
Yeah.
watch. Um,
We're really
but
licking the milk out of the bowl on this one. Yeah, we got the
yeah,
claws.
I was gonna say we have the exact same rating for both movies.
Yeah.
It's good that we agreed, so the claws didn't have to come out. All right, I think we're
Uh,
done.
that's our catnip. That's our cat. The cat
Oh
puns are our
yeah.
catnip.
Oh, did you like the Taylor Swift catnip that she had? The little
Yeah, that
catnip
was
like
funny. That was
magic
funny.
dust, whatever. Yeah.
See, and then she's like making everyone fall asleep. Like I was feeling it. I felt so seen because the whole movie I felt like I was gonna fall asleep.
Yeah, there you go. I
um.
yeah, the cat burglars they were also in the movie. Had no reason, but they were in
Yeah.
it.
Nah. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you could have
Um.
had the cat burglars like they get caught, she goes to cat jail. Could be
Yeah.
interesting.
I could have taken a
Oh,
cat nap.
and it's interesting too. This is an interesting factor about cats. At the beginning of the movie, Victoria is thrown into an alley by a human in a
Yeah.
car. So we're in the real human world, and these are cats. But
Well,
you
they're
could
jellicle cats.
whatever, yeah. And you could do this in an all cat world,
Right.
right? Like it could that would have been a totally different direction to take this. And
Yeah.
maybe that would have been more interesting. You have a cat world, you have a cat society, you could do a little world building. The cat burglar cats could go to cat jail. There could be cat police.
Yeah.
There could be baby cats. There could be old well, there are old cats, but
That's another thing about both these movies, honestly. No War of the Worlds pun intended here, but there's really no world building in either of these. In War of the Worlds, like I was mentioning that in Searching and Missing, you get the world building of learning about the characters through just the periphery of the screen, right? Like there's the icons are different, and you get little news clips when they're on the web page, right? You'll see little news things or ads, right? And you'll learn a little bit about the world. One of them even references the other. I forget. I think Searching was 2019 and Missing was the earlier one. I forget
no, for other
the
way
other way.
around.
And
Yeah.
so Missing actually references Searching a little bit, and you just see
Yeah.
that just minimally, but you get a little bit of world building even in a screen life movie, and it works really effectively.
Yeah.
War of the Worlds had none of that, right? And Cats also had really no world building. We're just kind of thrown into this. Nothing's ever, things are kind of a little bit like deco-y, I guess, but that's really all we ever get. It's like maybe it's like 1950s.
Yeah, I guess it is probably set in the past. Yeah, you're right. It
But
kind
yeah,
of
see, like you
looks
didn't even
like
notice that, right? Like
it looks like yeah, like 50s London maybe or like even
yeah.
older maybe.
Yeah, right. Like I guess, but also we never get any information. We never get there's no teases, no hints, no things that we see in the background.
Yeah, I feel like the car she gets thrown out of is almost like Model T-ish. So maybe it's like the 20s.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess
But
that's that. Are we done? Is there anything else to talk about or should we move on to the category cup?
well, we do have the rating recap real quick for
Oh,
cats,
rating recap for cats.
which there is still I
Rating
mean
recats.
rating recaps. It's here. It's meow time for the rating recaps. Cats. Crap. Um it's got
Uh,
2.8 out of 10 on letter on nope 2.8 out of 10 on IMDb, 19% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 53% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes,
wow.
and a 1.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. The audience score here was a big surprise.
Hmm.
Um, although I will say that the audience score for War of the Worlds was also a huge jump from the critic score. So it's just
Hmm.
interesting. I think with some time to reevaluate and kind of more people watching, and again, I think with this movie, particularly with Cats, it has been edited, right? We are actually seeing a
Hmm.
technically better version than the critics did at first. So,
Yeah, true.
but that gives it an average of 3.15 out of 10, which is certainly better than the 1.8 out of 10. And I think I would certainly, if this was a best of the worst, if we were like comparing these two movies, I would 100% say Cats was the the better of the worst movies here.
Yes, I think it's better. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But if anyone is finishing this episode and they haven't watched these, because we told you you did not have to,
Yeah, you
don't
don't
go
have
and
to.
watch them. Don't. We're not saying the Cats is a good movie to watch.
No, yeah, there's a lot of musicals you could watch that are better. A lot
Yeah.
of alien invasion movies you could watch that are better. Uh, all right. I guess
Category
that's
Cup.
that. Time for the
The
category cup.
Cat.
So,
The Category Cup.
yes, the category cup. So next week, episode 25.5, I think, we're gonna
Sounds
be
right.
doing Caught Stealing, the new Darren Aronofsky movie coming out this weekend, pretty much coming out when this episode comes out. We're gonna see it in theaters. We'll do an episode. I This was on my most anticipated of the summer 2025 video we did back then, or whatever episode we did. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. Should be a fun episode. Hope the movie's good. And after Caught Stealing, it'll be episode 26, and we're gonna need a new category for that episode. So I'm picking the category now. I'm on YouTube. You can see I'm not looking. Oh, we got stop motion slash claymation.
Whoa. That's
Uh,
it feels like a lot of times we kind of end up getting something we like kind of just talked about a little bit, like really briefly. But
yeah, we just did Fantastic Mr. Fox for our Talking Animals episode only maybe a month ago, a few weeks ago.
yeah, cool. All right, stop motion or claymation. We've one of the first things that comes to my mind, although I kind of
Uh
watched this pretty recent, was the new Pinocchio, the Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
oh yeah, that was
Really great
that was a
movie.
very good movie. I think I'm pretty sure this is stop motion. I think Mad God.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've been waiting. Oh,
I think I might have to pick that one. Or if you
oh.
pick that one, I could pick something else. That is
I'm
I
down for
would
you to pick it. That's fine. I that and Fantastic Planet. Have you seen Fantastic Planet?
I
The
have, but I don't think that's stop motion.
oh, it's not.
I don't think
Um,
so. I think
yeah,
it's just
great
regular
animation.
animation.
Um, those are just some of the things that are coming to my mind right away.
I do
But
like James and the Giant Peach. Good
mm,
movie. That was a childhood favorite. Uh, I don't know if is Frankenweenie stop motion or is that digital? I don't know.
um, it's possible. I would believe it. Um,
Yeah, I already did. If we hadn't done Fantastic Mr. Fox, I probably would have picked
oh
that.
yeah, Memoir of a Snail is another one that's on my list.
Yeah, I have not seen that one or Mary and Max, which is that director's like previous movie,
Right.
which are both supposed to be very good, but also I think both supposed to be quite sad, so I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to watch Justice League Doom and just watch like Batman punch people, and it's a little easier to watch than like depression, emotions.
Yeah. Um, yeah, Mad God is supposed to be very kind of like very over the top, gory action stuff, which is kind of why I've kind of kept pushing it off as like, I haven't found myself in that vibe too often lately, but I'm excited. So this will be a good time to actually check it off if one of us picks it. Um,
Oh,
the
do you know Anomalisa?
No.
That's a great movie. It's Charlie Kaufman. It's
Oh,
like
cool.
co-directed by Charlie Kaufman. Great movie. It's on Amazon Prime. Speaking of
Nice.
the devil.
It's also almost, I mean, we're like kind of into spooky season. Thinking of like Coraline or something. I don't really
Right.
want to pick Coraline, but like Corpse Bride, Coraline. I feel like there's like a good amount of it's interesting for Halloween and Christmas. I feel like there's a good amount of stop motion. There's like the Rankin Bass stuff from back in the day for
Oh yeah.
Christmas time.
I mean, Nightmare Before Christmas is like
Of
the
course.
yeah.
Yeah, cool.
There's also like My Life as a Zucchini. Do you know that
I
movie?
No, I was just seeing that on here actually. I
Great
haven't seen it.
movie. And
Yeah.
it's super short, really good.
Let's see. So
There's also this movie called The Wolf House. Do you know this movie?
no.
I haven't seen it, but it's on Tubi.
Oh,
Oh man, it looks pretty fucked up.
The Wolf House.
Looks insane. I'm looking at the backdrops on Letterboxd. It looks insane. Also, stop motion, it's so difficult to do that all the movies are super short.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
benefit.
Um, I would say for anyone listening, that are like listening for suggestions, I just want to also reemphasize because we're thinking of short ones. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is like almost, I think it's like almost 2 hours long, and it is such a solid movie and it's so well made. I gotta just one more time just strongly recommend if anyone's looking for a good stop motion movie that they haven't seen yet.
Yeah,
Um,
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is great.
yeah,
Yeah.
so good. All right, we're back. We've picked our stop motion slash claymation movies, and I'm picking The Wolf House, which is it looks like an hour and 13 minutes from 2018. It's a Chilean movie. It's on Tubi. Strongly recommend people take a look at this one. It seems pretty crazy, and I'm pretty excited to watch it for our next full episode.
Yes, and I chose Mad God. Yeah, also a sort of horror stop motion movie. Phil Tippett took he's like this is like his magnum opus. He's kind of been working on his whole life. I think I have the Blu-ray of this, and I've been wanting to watch this for a while, but I haven't gotten to it. So this is a good reason to get to it. So yeah, two movies neither of us have seen, so that's exciting. Also, animation, I guess you think of kids' movies, but we both went in a horror direction, so it should be fun.
Yeah, it's getting kind of close to spooky season. I mean, I guess this will be coming out pretty close to September, and that's only a little bit away. But
No,
it is
this
interesting.
episode will be out in September, and September is
Yeah.
basically October, so it's basically Halloween.
Right. And so we're there, I mean, we're on the right track. But it is interesting because claymation and stop motion are often, there's a lot of kids movies, even centered around Halloween, right? Like Coraline, Corpse Bride. There's also Christmas ones like the Rankin Bass stuff from back in the day. And then there's obviously like the Wes Anderson uh Fantastic Mr. Fox, which we just covered, Isle of Dogs and whatnot. So it is interesting that
Yeah.
we're going with a different route than maybe the what we would have picked. Probably, I mean, if we didn't just do Fantastic Mr. Fox, that would have been on the list. So
Yeah. So yeah, stop motion. This will be fun. I don't think claymation is not accurate for either of these movies, probably. I don't think they're actually clay. Maybe
right.
they are, who knows? But I think stop motion is kind of a all-encompassing term, so that works. So yeah, join us next week for Caught Stealing. That'll be fun. Join us the week after for Mad God and The Wolf House on an episode titled, psychotically titled, Molf Gauss,
We are
which
the
is
yeah,
maybe our worst title yet.
which also makes it our best.
Exactly. Yes. And this is sort of a cat situation where it's so depraved and deformed and yeah, it's fascinating. You can't take your eyes off of
Yeah,
it.
it's a cry for help. To
It's,
say, I'm just gonna say
I thought you were gonna say it's a crime against humanity, which hey,
that.
but yeah, all right. Well, I guess that's that for this episode. Don't forget to mind your movies.